There are a lot of legendary skate spots around the world, but still everyone gets hyped on these 4 famous blocks. Yep, Wallenberg. Probably the most famous Big Four in the world, located at the Raoul Wallenberg Traditional High School in San Francisco, California. At first glance, the 4'3" height doesn't look too crazy, but with the length of almost 16 feet and 5 inches, it has almost the same length as the El Toro 20 stair. There's a bad run-up, and the old ground is crusty and full of cracks. Still, the spot has been skated heavily over the years, from Mark Gonzalez being the first in 1990 to skate it, over 2 Thrasher contests, and to these days, a lot of tricks have gone down on the blocks. Still, there's room for NBDs, and every new trick we see blows our minds. Today, we want to have a look at all the tricks that went down the 4 block, the 2 Thrasher contests, and as always, we rank the top 10 tricks on the spot. So, hey, let's jump right in.
Top 10 skate clips of the best, biggest, and best looking tricks, and tricks at most iconic spots.
As you saw earlier, the Wallenberg High School was being skated in the early 90s. Back then, people were mostly skating the ledges and benches in the yard. The first documented trick down the blocks, though, Mark Gonzalez in Blind's video days. Pretty crazy to see how we went from this to this in 30 years. But there's a little difference to it. The run-up. Back in the days, people were running up from the streets, which made it incredibly difficult to get the speed to clear it. A couple of years and building sites later, the old run-up from the street isn't possible anymore. It's a wheelchair ramp and a fence that blocks the way. How did the history continue after Mark Gonzalez's frontside grab? Since the schoolyard was always open for skaters and it was never a bust, the first event took place there in 1992. The question was, who else could do something down the blocks? The only one who managed to land something was Jesse Paez, who frontside 180'd it. The real hype about Wallenberg started, though, after about the SF Back to the City contest in 1993. The whole crowd went over to Wallenberg. Jamie Thomas ollied it first try, winning $100, and Chris Markovich came super close to kickflipping it. In 1998, Diego Bucherri backside 180'd it for Think's dedication video. But we had to wait until 1999 to witness the first flip trick down the 4 blocks. It was Danny Gonzalez who did a kickflip melon for Trandworld's The Reason video. Fast forward 4 years later to 411 Video Magazine issue 60, and Frank Gerwer kickflipped it as well, this time without the grab. By the way, Frank Gerwer, 50 years old, recently ollied the Wallenberg set again in 2025. Somebody needs to stop this man. In 2004, one of Thrasher's best contests to this day took place at Wallenberg, high noon at the Big Four. The expectations from the crowd were high and pretty accurate.
If Reynolds comes, he's gonna frontside flip it.
Definitely. Yeah. Lindsay Robertson probably heel flip it. Chris Heelflip Indy or something.
Chris Cole heel varial or 360 flip.
First of all, Mark Gonzalez came back 14 years later and ollied it again. What a legend. Then Daryl Stanton threw down a switch backside 180. And as the kids in the crowd predicted, Lindsay Robertson with a beast of a signature heel flip. Just look at that airtime. Then of course, the boss doing what the boss does best. Andrew Reynolds with a textbook frontside flip. And last but not least, Chris Cole with an attempt of a 360 flip. So close. He had to come back a year later, jump down 67 more times to land it, and destroyed himself while doing it. See for yourself.
Holy shit, that was perfect.
Between 1990 and 2005, we saw a couple of milestones go down, but the real deal went down in 2009. Back to the Berg, Thrasher's second Wallenberg contest, and the first time we saw the wooden roll-in at the spot, making the run-up easier and opening the door for some more NBDs to go down. And also, famous for the Lizard King thong incident.
Yes! Someone asked me that the other day. They're like, hey man, so were you like wearing a thong? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It's fucking a belt, man.
Jokes aside, Lizard King killed it that day. Backside 180 1 foot, airwalk, and an ollie to disaster on the last step. But he was not the only one killing it. Some gnarly shit went down that day. Chris Cole going back to jump down a 68th time, nailing it with a back 360, and then a switch frontside flip first try. Nick Merlino threw down a switch heel, and Lindsey Robertson came by to one-up his heel flip from 2004 with a backside heel flip. Then Cody McIntyre entered the ring with a backside big spin, and that was a trick you didn't see many people do back in the day at the time. Andrew Pott hard flipped it, and Jordan Hofford varial heel flipped it, adding the last tricks to the Back to the Berg list. Where was Reynolds this time? Well, he came back to the blocks earlier on his own to get a backside flip for his upcoming Stay Gold part by America, which released in 2010, also earning him a Thrasher Magazine May 2007 cover. The list of tricks done on Wallenberg meanwhile filled itself, but there was a breaking point around 2010. The reconstruction of the run-up that we talked about earlier almost made it impossible to skate the blocks without the wooden roll-in, which would become the standard way to skate it. You could argue that the roll-in makes skating it easier than running up to it like back in the day, but you have to keep in mind that skateboarding itself has also evolved. Choosing the top 10 tricks on this spot wasn't easy, but all of the tricks on our list were done using the wooden roll-in. Before we jump into our top 10 tricks, we wanted to ask you to leave us a follow and a like for the channel. Somehow most of our viewers aren't subscribed yet, and it would help us greatly. Thanks. Let's get into our top 10 tricks done at Wallenberg. Starting with the king of big gaps, Chris Joslin, and this huge hard flip revert, or Ghetto bird, whatever you want to call it. Look at how he jumps into the ramp to get the speed. He could have cleared a 5th block. Listen to what he says on his 9 Club episode.
Ghetto bird was 3rd try, and if you go back to that first angle, I think you can still see one of the filmers setting up, and he was like one of our filmers, like that he's filmer. And yeah, if you look right here, I want to say he's like holding the tripod in his hand. Yeah, he's setting up his tripod, so he's got his tripod in his hand, he's like extending it. And I roll away and I look at him as I'm rolling away, and he literally gives me like this, like kind of like, I don't want to say pissed off, but just like very upset, sad kind of look of like, dude, you really just did that and I'm not even ready. And like, I was like, damn, dude. And on the way there, we were talking about like tricks to try.
Only 3 tries. Must be nice. But he had another one up his sleeve. Inward heel flip, pulled off on the same day. Both tricks were done for his Etnies album part, which came out in 2018. A well-earned 10th and 9th place. Coming to our 8th place, Forrest Edwards with a switch kickflip. 11 years after Frank Gerwer's kickflip, Forrest Edwards and DJ Gaudin came to Wallenberg to switch it up and battled for the trip. Forrest Edwards landed it first with a stylish, slightly boned catch. A well-earned 8th place. But what about DJ Gaudin? Well, more on him later. Next up, we have TJ Rogers with this perfectly executed switch frontside big spin. You could call TJ the king of switch frontside tricks. He has conquered some of the most famous spots that way already. Switch frontside 180 El Toro, switch frontside 360 Hollywood High, and also Wallenberg doesn't seem to be a big deal for him. Just look at that second angle. You can see how long the blocks are and how he catches it and twists it around. It's just beautiful to watch. Well done. Switch frontside biggie, 7th place in our list. For our 6th spot, following up with our king of tech who also knows how to jump down big stuff, Shane O'Neill with a Nollie backside heel flip as seen in his Shane Goes part from 2015. Try to imagine rolling down that wooden ramp, popping Nollie and going fully blindside down those long blocks. There's a reason that this is the first landed Nollie trick at Wallenberg, and therefore a well-earned 6th place. It gets really difficult to rank the tricks now, but let's start with place number 5. Let us know in the comments what you think. One of the cleanest skaters comes next, Silvas. As flawless and easy as it looks for him, it wasn't.
Trying to switch back heel on Wallenberg, I went back 5 times. Every time going there, like, all right, I'm gonna do it this time. Like, it's for sure going down, and then it just not happening, and then finally working out is more just like satisfaction for like my personal, getting that trick off my chest and move on or whatever.
Most people will like be like, all right, I tried it, I'm gonna leave it in the past. He's like, no, I'm getting older and I'm gonna do it.
Speaking of getting older, that kind of transitions us into our 4th place. At 39 years old, bagging him the Trick of the Year 2020, Brandon Turner switch hard flipped the Wallenberg blocks. We've seen him take his signature trick to other famous spots like the Carlsbad Gap in 1999. Pulling it off again 20 years later at one of the biggest gaps out there is just mind-blowing. Thank you, Brandon. Coming to our top 3, starting with Toby Ryan. We're back to the Nollie tricks. Nollie backside flip down those huge blocks. Done for his Real Presents Toby Ryan part on Thrasher Mag. Similar to Shane O'Neill's Nollie back heel, also popping Nollie and flying down blindside. But the foot positioning of a Nollie backside flip makes it even gnarlier. Just look at that beautiful bone catch when he grabs it. Incredible and well-earned place 3. But what might be harder than going Nollie backside? Switch backside. And here we have him now. DJ Gaudin with an incredible switch backside flip at Wallenberg. After battling with Forrest Edwards for that switch flip, he changed things up and went for the switch backside flip instead, successfully. Landing a switch backside flip on one of the most famous spots in the world and then just disappearing. I wonder what DJ's doing nowadays. Anyway, well-earned 2nd place of all the tricks ever done at Wallenberg. Finally arriving at our number 1 spot, it had to be him. The only one to ever throw a trick down Fakie. Jaeb, Fakie flip. When I first saw the picture in Thrasher magazine, I couldn't believe it. And then the footage came out for Primitive's AM Video Daydream in 2024. Absolutely incredible. Going down these long blocks with a Fakie flip. To this day, we think the best trick ever done at Wallenberg. Enjoy the view.
We hope you liked the video. Feel free to leave us a sub, let us know in the comments which spot you would like to see next, and check out our other videos. See you next time!